Now moving on, we are going to look at the formed elements. So formed elements. Now, there are three components to these formed elements. What are they? The first one is erythrocytes, which are also called the red blood cells or RBCs. The second one are called the leukocytes. They are also known as the WBCs or the white blood cells. And finally, we have the thrombocytes, which are infamously the platelets. Now, all of these formed elements, if we compare it to the whole blood, then they occupy about 45% of the complete blood. Right. Now we're going to go into details with the formed elements, starting off with erythrocytes. So over here you have a diagram that is taken from NCERT, and you can see the different kinds of cells, the different kinds of formed elements. So this is the RBC. These are the platelets, which are much smaller in size. And the rest, whatever is there from here till here, these are the WBCs or the leukocytes. So we're going to go and start off with RBC. Or erythrocytes. The erythrocytes or RBCs, they are maximum in number. Maximum in number. I mean, relative to all the other components. And if we speak about a healthy individual, then in every millimeter cube of blood, a healthy individual should have 5 to 5.5 millions of RBC. That is in every millimeter cube of blood. Next. Well, if we speak about the origin of red blood cells, they originate from the red bone marrow. Now you all must be knowing that if we take a look at the bone, then this area over here, this has the red bone marrow, whereas the area which is in the middle, this has the yellow bone marrow. And we are concerned with the red bone marrow, which are giving rise to the RBCs. So the ends, they're the red bone marrows, and in the middle, it is the yellow bone marrow. Right. So they are formed from the red bone marrow in adults. And a very, very important point about erythrocytes or RBCs is that a mature RBC, or all the RBCs that are mature, they will never have a nucleus. That is, they are enucleated. And because they do not have the nucleus, they do not have a bulging appearance. They have an appearance of biconcavity. So their shape is biconcave. right? And this point is very important. Mature RBCs, they do not have nucleus. This has a lot of significance because the primary function of the RBCs, that is to transport oxygen to the other parts of the body, all the parts of the body. Now, to make space for maximum oxygen carrying capacity, they are devoid of nucleus or any fundamental organelle that is present in the other cells, like mitochondria, the endoplasmic reticulum, and all that. So they do not have any organelles. That is why that property makes RBC, the suitable candidate for transporting the maximum amount of oxygen. And you can also think it in this way, since we know that mitochondria is required for the oxidative phosphorylation during respiration of the cell. That is why if the mitochondria is present in RBC, the O2 or the oxygen that is being taken up by the RBC, that is going to be consumed in oxidative phosphorylation. And you do not want that. You want the oxygen to go as it is into all the body parts or all the body tissues. Right, that is why they're also devoid of mitochondria apart from the nucleus. Moving further, the erythrocytes also have something called hemoglobin. And hemoglobin is a red color pigment that contains two parts. One is the heme part, which is the iron containing part, and the second one is the globin part, that is the protein part. Now, this is the reason why the name hemoglobin. And because of the iron containing part, the heme part, it is able to attach oxygen to the molecule of hemoglobin. Right. So that is why we say that the RBC is red in color. This red color is imparted by this pigment. Now, hemoglobin, what it does, hemoglobin, its major function is it binds to oxygen. It binds to oxygen and delivers it onto the different tissues of the body. Right? And finally, if we look at the lifespan of RBC, then the RBCs have a lifespan of 120 days. Now, this is very interesting. Every RBC, it is formed from the bone marrow, and from the day it is born, it has got 120 days to survive, and then it is sent to the spleen. So the RBC, after 120 days, it is sent to the spleen, and the spleen destroys the RBC after 120 days. So spleen is also known as the graveyard of RBCs.